Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, February 25th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you. Tuesday NHL slate, our first Tuesday back in NHL action since the Four Nations face-off break, and it is a big Tuesday slate, as it often is. We've got ourselves a big 12-game NHL slate tonight. We'll break that down in just a moment. We're going to be quick about last night because to say San Jose and Winnipeg wasn't the most entertaining game in the world would be an understatement, but you got to give credit to Vitek Vanacek. He played one hell of a game to give San Jose an opportunity last night and had that 1-0 lead hold up quite for a very long time. Of course, nice to cash that. It's now 14 of 18 games this year where the underdog against a minus 400 favorite or higher has scored a goal in the first period, so it was great to cash that with San Jose to score in the first period. Damon Williams, I know, had San Jose money line first period, so really good call with that as well. But Winnipeg found a way. That was like their C-minus game. There's no question. You could tell. I mean, even on their power plays, and they got a bunch of them last night. Passes weren't clicking. Execution just wasn't there. They just didn't really have a very sharp, strong performance. But when you're the Winnipeg Jets and you're facing the San Jose Sharks, you'll often find a way to win in spite, of not playing your best. And that's what we saw. Josh Morrissey with that seeing eye wrist shot through traffic to tie the game in the final minute. And then it was Mark Scheifele with the overtime winner and a 2-1 win for the Winnipeg Jets last night over the San Jose Sharks. That's two really tough losses for San Jose back-to-back on the road because they played hard in Calgary and lost 3-2. And then in the very next night to have that 1-0 lead as long as they did and then lose 2-1 in overtime. Tough pill to swallow for the San Jose Sharks. And then in the second game, Vegas-LA, LA continues their home ice dominance. And man, what a third period from the Los Angeles Kings as they roared past Vegas and get a 5-2 victory in that game. That was a great game for me. Kings in the over. They both cash in for us. Kevin Fiala continues to play red hot, gets the late goal that put it away. And Quentin Byfield, what a game for him. 4 assists last night in the victory for the LA Kings. And Darcy Kemper solid in goal once again for LA. And this home record, bet against the Los Angeles Kings at the crypto barn at your own risk. A phenomenal home record all season long. And they continue their dominance on home ice with that 5-2 win last night against Vegas. Alex, your thoughts on the two games from Monday?
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen this with Winnipeg now where they're trailing in a game by 1 very, very late against a team that they should blow the doors off of, and then they tie the game, they win the game. They've done this against the Hawks and done it now against the Sharks. We've seen this time and time again, and that's the dangers of playing, in those spots when you have a team that's favored minus 400 or higher. But like I said, that's now a great trend that we've uncovered with now 14-4, betting that underdog to get a goal in the first period. That's something definitely, look into, especially as we get past the trade deadline on the 7th. We'll start seeing those bottom feeder teams who shipped off pieces get worse. The teams will just start to decline, and we'll start seeing some of those inflated prices, especially against those top tier teams and teams trying to make the playoffs. So that's a trend to certainly keep note of moving forward.
No question. All right, let's get right into it because it's a huge card for on this Tuesday. We'll begin with Carolina and Montreal. I remember back in the day, this was actually a playoff matchup. I remember between these two teams, Hurricanes and Canadiens. I remember it was Cam Ward, playing for the Carolina Hurricanes back then. But right now we've got Carolina around minus 210 road favorites in this game. And the total right now sitting at around 6 pretty much across the board in this one. You've got Carolina coming off the disappointment, I guess you could say, of the loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And really it was the first period that buried them in that game. I don't think they could have played much worse than they did in that opening period and certainly had their share of.
I think Ian's screen might have froze. It's been froze up on my end, so we'll wait for him to come back in. But yeah, just kind of getting a look through and a rundown of I'm not sure what games he's going to lead off with. You were talking about Carolina, Montreal. And like I said, yeah, this is a big matchup, obviously, for both these teams, especially Montreal. We talk about how this is something they need out of this break, get this momentum rocking and rolling, move forward. And this will be a good test for the Habs tonight, going up against the Carolina team that certainly, like I said, this could be a playoff matchup potentially, depending on how things shake out. And certainly, like I said, the Canes trying to make a little noise. And, I've been hearing a lot of rumbling too, and then we're going to talk about this game. But what do you think is going to happen with the Canes as far as the Mikko Rantanen situation? Because I'm hearing all kind of stuff of how he might be moved again, or they're trying to get this extension, and now he wants this big money.
Well, they offered him a big ass deal, but doesn't mean they're going to take it. He's going to take
so
it.
that's So do you think he gets moved again though? I think that would be kind of crazy to see.
Well, now if they see he's hesitating on this excessive deal that apparently the Hurricanes and Tulski and company offered the Rantanen camp, and they see he's dragging his heels on it, maybe that's going to give them an incentive to try to move him again, because they really will fear that they're not going to be able to re-sign him. So that's going to be the interesting thing to monitor with that. But like I said, there's a lot hanging in the weeds right now for the Carolina Hurricanes, and how they treat that situation moving forward is going to be interesting. How they treat tonight's game is going to be interesting, because they're coming off that loss to Toronto. And as I said just before we got knocked off there for a second, the first few minutes of that game buried them. I mean, you just can't start a game like that against a good team. And they were down 4-0 in the first period. They battled all the way back, of course, to make it interesting, but a little bit too little too late. And they ended up with the 5-3 loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday night. We'll see how this one plays out tonight against Montreal. They have owned Montreal. There's no doubt. Slatsy is right in the chat to mention that. But I got a feeling Montreal, that was a good reset button hit for them. Getting the break when they did, the push for them if they're going to try to get into the postseason or stay in contention. They got to go on a run. They got to put wins together. And they did a nice job coming out of the break with that game against Ottawa. And I know Ottawa's got some injuries, and Brady Tkachuk, of course, heart and soul, their captain, didn't play Saturday night in that game. But still, to give Montreal credit, they had a good showing out of the break. The only thing I fear is Carolina off the loss is probably going to play well here and look to bounce back. But go look at Carolina again on the road. They've lost 4 of their last 5 road games, and the only team they beat on the road in those 5 road games was the Rangers. And that's not saying a whole lot right now. So the road problems continue to be an issue for me. I don't mind taking shots against Carolina at these numbers, at these prices when they're on the road. They just haven't been good enough. They haven't been consistent enough away from home. So I'm dabbling in a little Montreal money line, team total over 2.5 split in this game. And I'll fade Freddie Anderson when he hasn't started in forever, a guy that I don't really trust. And he's going to get the nod in net tonight for the Hurricanes in this game. So give me a Montreal money line, team total over split for me in this one. And Owen Beck is going to be called up and be in the lineup tonight. I think he's worth a look as far as a prop goes. Like his game, he's got offensive ability. He plays physical. He doesn't mind mucking it up, and getting in scrums, getting his nose dirty, if you will. I think it's a nice jolt that he's going to give this Montreal team called up from the American Hockey League. Great junior player, too, with Peterborough, I remember. The Petes. Owen Beck, I think, might make an impact tonight for Montreal. Alex, what do you think here, Carolina, Montreal?
Yeah, I'm with you on taking a shot with a dog, and that's really the only thing I like. Normally, like I said, looking at Freddie Anderson, like I said, off of the break, normally I would be looking at it over. But I think this could be a game that maybe ends up being a little tight, especially late in the contest. If I were to play anything overs-wise, it would be first period over. So maybe a first period over in-game and then looking into a live under. But I do like the Habs here. Like I said, this price – yeah, Carolina, like I said, laying 220. We've seen this. This is just talking about with Winnipeg, where they're a team that can, look trappy and then find their way to win. We've seen Carolina lose quite often, being a bigger dog, a bigger favorite, I should say. So Habs at home, getting the dog price. I'll take a shot here.
All right. Yeah, like I said, a little overpriced here in this spot, in my opinion. All right, Anaheim and Buffalo. We've got Buffalo minus 190, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. I think Tage Thompson's going to go on a run. We saw him have a huge game against the Rangers. Phenomenal goal in that beatdown over New York on Saturday for Buffalo. Anaheim, meanwhile, this is a bit of a tough spot for them because this is 3-4 on the road for the Anaheim Ducks. They obviously beat Boston in overtime Saturday night. They had that valiant comeback effort against Detroit when they were down 4-1 on Sunday, battled back, tied at 4-4, and then, of course, Detroit gets the overtime winner, courtesy of Patrick Kane. To beat Anaheim 5-4. Tough spot. I agree, but I'm not laying mine. And Buffalo's been really playing well on home ice lately, but I'm not there at minus 190 with the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, give them credit. They're playing some good hockey right now, but at no point at any moment am I interested in the Buffalo Sabres laying a price like this, no matter how well they are playing. I think if you like Buffalo, I see Ryan mentioning it. Team total's the way to go. Buffalo is one of those teams too right now. When they're winning games, they're scoring 4 goals. So if you like Buffalo in this game, take the team total over. I'm on the over by Fecta here. Buffalo's been a first period over machine. Buffalo continues to be just an unreal over team at home on full game overs. I'm talking about. They have been just one after another, essentially, as far as these full game overs cashing. And like I said, they've been a good first period. And look at Anaheim now, even with them. First period and full game over numbers in the short term have picked up. So I also can see fatigue setting in a little bit here for Anaheim. Like I said, this is back-to-back coming out of a long break. You don't feel it, but still now, 3rd game in 4 nights. You've been idle for 2 weeks, and now you're asking these guys to play 3 and 4 on the road. A little bit tricky. I could see some mistakes creeping in defensively to the Anaheim game tonight. So over by Fecta. That's what I like most here. Alex, what do you think here? Ducks, Sabres.
Yeah, I lean with the over by Fecta, but I'm going to wait and try and grab that in game, try and get a 5.5, try and get plus money with the 1.5. What I like more is Anaheim on the money line. I bet this yesterday plus 170. Sabres have no reason laying this price. Yes, they're a better team at home, but not against the Anaheim team.
Beat the corpse of the Rangers too. Let's keep that in mind on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I'm still, this is an inflated price. And I'm also taking a shot at the draw here. You can get plus 340 at Bet Online. Why not take that with an Anaheim team that's gone past regulation 3 straight games? So dog and draw split for me, and I'll be looking for the over by Fecta in game.
Yeah, I know in the short term, LJ, that Buffalo is like 8-3 to the first period over their last 11, but apparently LJ's got the numbers even going back further, 21-8 to the first period over for Buffalo in their last 29 games. And like I said, Anaheim's been starting to score. Yeah, Zegras suspended for 3 games is definitely, they will miss him. He's been actually heating up lately for the Anaheim Ducks. No question about that. But the good news is Vetrano, who is getting some love in the chat for a goal prop tonight, which I totally get that, looking at Frank Vetrano. Leo Carlson, a guy that we've been waiting on to maybe get rolling a little bit more. Not that he wasn't playing well before, but I think we're starting to see him, get a little bit more involved offensively, which is good to see. So those are definitely some of the props to look at. Like I say, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin's all of a sudden becoming involved a lot. There's a lot of defensemen, and I'm going to mention 2 later on that they're defensemen that you almost have to bet right now as far as goal props and certainly point props. We'll mention them later in the show, but Owen Power, an assist machine, good call there. But Rasmus Dahlin, yes, has really been stepping up lately for Buffalo offensively. So keep that in mind. Maybe worth his props, worth a look here tonight as well. Calgary and Washington. We've got the Capitals minus 190, home favorite, 6 the total. I mean, to me, if you're going, the only real, I guess, angle you would have if you're going to fade Washington right now is just that they're going to throw up a dud and a clunker after 2 big wins over the weekend against Edmonton and Pittsburgh back-to-back. And, yeah, there is some concern. They were just such dominant victories, so impressive that maybe now with an out-of-conference team rolling in, that maybe Washington a little sleepy, a little dopey, a little off their game tonight potentially for the Washington Capitals. But I don't know if I trust Calgary. And I know Calgary's got everything to play for right now because they're battling for their playoff lives. I think the effort will be there for them. 1 point behind Vancouver for that final wild card spot. But how do you go against Washington right now? I mean, it's just very difficult. And now you've got also, and this is no slight on him, he's a capable goalie. We've talked about Dan Vladar as a capable goalie, but he's not Dustin Wolf at this point in time for the Calgary Flames. He'll get the start, and you've got obviously the absolutely rolling Logan Thompson in net tonight for the Capitals. And it's been a long time since we've seen Dan Vladar. Who the hell knows how he's going to play here tonight in this game for the Calgary Flames. So I like the Caps team total over 3.5. They're scoring goals right now. We've talked all year that Calgary's defense has been worse on the road than it's been at home. And Calgary's offense has been worse on the road too. So that's what makes this tricky, because Washington is a first period over team now. In 6 straight games have gone over in the first period for the Washington Capitals. I did ride that again tonight. First period over, looking for 7 straight. But my concern is Calgary not being able to help out offensively consistently tonight against this Washington team and with the way, Logan Thompson's played. So first period over for me, and full game over smaller, but more on the first period over. And I'm on the Caps team total over 3.5. That's the bet that I'm on the most here in this game. And by the way, the guy I'm talking about, talking about some defenseman that you got to start betting, Jacob Chikrin, man. Goal prop. Never mind assists, never mind points props. Goal props. He has scored 3 goals in 2 games out of the break. He's a must bet right now. He's jumping into the play. He's feeling his oats. He's got the confidence. He's shooting the puck a ton. He's got confidence with his shot now because he's seeing the puck go in as well. So, I mean, Jacob Chikrin's a guy you got to start betting. Simple as that with goal props right now. He's firing the puck from the blue line, playing with extreme confidence, and you see it. He has been just a phenomenal pickup here for this Washington Capitals team, and a big reason why they're having this great season atop the NHL standings at the moment. Alex, what do you think here? Calgary, Washington.
Yeah, so I have first period over 1.5. I got -122 at FanDuel, and I do have Caps team total over 3.5, -115. Like I said, with Vladar in net, and he's been a shell of himself. On top of the fact, like I said, not even close to where Wolf's numbers are. So he's a bit shaky. Like I said, Flames definitely, if they can upgrade and get a better backup than Vladar, they should do that sooner than later. But definitely liking goals here from Washington. Liking goals early in the contest. I want to take the draw because both teams need points, cross conference, not in each other's way. But something tells me that this could be a spot, like I said, with the way Washington's playing right now, they could just kind of turn on the afterburners and blow them out. So just going first period over and Caps team total over.
There you go, Caps style. Jonathan likes Calgary team total over in this one. Yeah, they did. You know what?
Yeah.
They did give up 3 to Edmonton. They gave up 3 to Pittsburgh. So all you need is 3 out of Calgary. That's true. There's definitely truth to that. Yeah, Jacob Chikrin props. I would say for Calgary, like I said, Matt Coronado, Kadri's been playing really well lately for the Calgary Flames. It seems like he's been a point machine lately, whether it's scoring a goal, whether it's getting an assist. Nazem Kadri has certainly been good. Uyghur's on an assist streak right now for the Calgary Flames. So no surprise to see if that continues. Like I said, Calgary is got Vancouver and Vancouver Canucks fans sweating right now, obviously, with the way things are going at the moment. All right, next up, we've got Dallas and Columbus. This is a nice little game here. Obviously, we know Dallas, one of the best teams in the NHL, legit cup contenders. But Columbus, man, this one of the surprises of the season, without a doubt, and how awesome they've been at home at Nationwide Arena will not be an easy feat for this Dallas team tonight. Dallas -190, road favorites, 6 the total. Jake Ottinger and Elvis Merzlikins, who was talking about some sort of anal penetration after the game the other night. But that's another story with the goalpost. That was that was a little strange to hear that quote from him, but pretty funny. He should have just said I collided with the goalpost. He was saying I got the post between my cheeks, and that was pretty funny stuff. But nevertheless, you've got Merzlikins playing some really good hockey right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. 5-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Keep in mind, Merzlikins was playing very, very well before the Four Nations break. Extremely solid in between the pipes for this Jackets team. Like I said, I think this is one of the best stretches of hockey he's played. Dallas has been great off the break. You got to give Peter DeBoer and the team credit. You know, they go to New Jersey, get a nice road win. They beat the Islanders right after that, 4-3. It should be a really good game. Unfortunately, the injuries are mounting on the blue line, already without Miro Heiskanen, the Dallas Stars, and Leon Bischel victimized on that hit by Casey Cizikas the other night that is going to keep him out of the lineup for at least this game tonight. So a little depleted on that back end. We'll see how it goes. The one fear I would have with the Jackets here is you caught looking ahead a bit to because their next game, you know what it is. It's Saturday. The Stadium Series game outdoors at Ohio Stadium, home of the Buckeyes in the shoe against the Detroit Red Wings. So, you know, sometimes you don't always love backing a team prior to playing that outdoor game, but you're talking about +160 with the Jackets here. I didn't take the money line. I think this is a competitive game, but you're going to give me a chance to take Columbus over 2.5, their team total at home, -110. It's hard to pass that up, even against a good team, really good team like the Dallas Stars. Go and look at Columbus's season log this year. Go look at all the home games, and you can count on one hand how many times they've been held to below 3 goals on home ice. It has not happened very often. But because they're playing one of the heavyweights here, Dallas, you are getting Columbus at a very cheap price here, over 2.5 team total, -110. I like it. Look, Dallas is missing some key pieces on that back end. right now. There's no question. The Islanders, if the Islanders can score 3 against the Dallas Stars, why the hell can't Columbus here in this game tonight? Columbus is a better offensive team than New York, the Islanders. And even though they're still without Monahan and Shinikov, and they've gotten great production from Fantilli, Marchenko's back, Kent Johnson's been great. Denton Matejchuk, keep an eye on this guy. Keep mentioning him. He's a good young defenseman, and he's probably only going to get better. And it goes without saying, Zach Werenski, man, you just got to keep taking props with this guy at home, especially when he's at home like this, whether it's an assist prop especially, but he did score in the last game against Chicago as well. 3-point night, over 1.5 points every time he's at home right now. You're going to get a good plus price on that. It's insane, Alex, how much he is factoring into the offense right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets from the back end. So I like the Jackets team total. Don't know about winning the game because I think Dallas might be able to. Dallas is on fire offensively right now too. Let's keep that in mind. That's why I prefer just the team total here for Columbus. And I like over by Fecta here. Look at Dallas all of a sudden, 8-2 to the over their last 10 games. They've turned into an over team. Why? Because the offense is heating up right now. So Jackets team total over 2.5 minus 110 and over by Fecta for me. Alex, what do you think here? Stars, Jackets.
Yeah, same bets for me. And like you said, with Dallas, not only is the offense heating up, but like you mentioned, those blue line injuries, that at the clear cut buy sign for over. So yeah, definitely over by Fecta. And like I said, that's a cheap price with Columbus. Rather than backing Columbus to win the game, just back them to get 3 goals, which that doesn't seem like a lot to ask from with this Columbus team right now. This should be a fun one, good back and forth kind of a battle. I can see where, especially if Columbus jumps out to a maybe 2-goal lead, maybe look to grab Dallas in game. So this is kind of a good live betting spot as far as maybe money line goes. If this goes back and forth, you might have a chance to get plus money either way. So looking forward to this one. This will be one I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Thomas Harley, man, as far as the props for Dallas, like someone's got to fill the void, and Bischel would have been a candidate probably to play a little more power play time as well, but now he's out as well in addition to Heiskanen. So Thomas Harley's going to be someone that's going to play a lot more minutes now, playing with great confidence. That tournament did wonders for Thomas Harley, really did. I mean, in terms of giving him confidence, he played great. If it was not a situation where he had to come out of the lineup in the championship game, probably could have played again. And actually did end up going in because of the fact Morrissey was out. But no, he's played great for Dallas. I'm looking at their blue line combos right now. Harley with Ceci, Essa Lindell with Labushkin, Brendan Smith, Matt Dumba are going to be the pairs, it looks like, for the Stars on the back end here tonight. I do want to mention Maverick Bourque is up with Hintz and Jason Robertson, who, of course, is coming off the hat trick against the New York Islanders. Marchment, Duchesne, and Michael Granlund. Michael Granlund, I'm telling you what, he was a scoring machine at 4 Nations for Finland. I know it hasn't translated yet to the Dallas Stars, but I think he's going to score sooner rather than later for them, especially if he's going to get put up there on the top line for the Stars. So I don't mind taking a shot here with Michael Granlund here tonight, maybe to find the back of the net. And I knew Jonathan would have the numbers for me as soon as I mentioned it, how the Jackets have scored 3 goals or more in the majority of home games. How about 23 of their 28 home games? The Jackets have scored at least 3 goals. That's why when I saw over 2.5 minus 110, I know it's a great Dallas team. I get it. It's a great team. Maybe they do shut them down and hold them to below 3, but we're not going to get over 2.5 with Columbus, their team total on this home ice very often. Got to bet it. Toronto and Boston. We've got Toronto minus 150 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. I laid a better price than this with Toronto. It's at the point now where it's a little bit too high for my liking, minus 150. I think when I took it, it was closer to minus 130, minus 135 with Toronto. But I do like them here to beat Boston. They finally, I think, figured out how to beat this Bruins team. And really, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Bruins, and I don't love their blue line at all, minus Lindholm still, and obviously minus Charlie McAvoy, and it's devastating, obviously, for Boston to hear that his season is over. And you got to wonder where things go from here for this Bruins team. Not to mention now a team that, offensively it comes and goes for them. And now they got to face, obviously, Anthony Stolarz, who has looked pretty damn good in just a couple of starts since he returned from injury for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Stolarz and Swayman, the matchup here. like I said, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Bruins back end now. With obviously you already missed Lindholm, but McAvoy is just that piece that's very difficult to replace him. Who's going to fill those minutes becomes a grave concern. Obviously, when you go from Zadorov is not playing the kind of season right now where I trust him as far as a top pair role with Brandon Carlo right now. You've got Lowry with Peak. You got Parker Wotherspoon, and it looks like Callahan, another Callahan. Michael Callahan is going to be the third pair on that third pair for the Bruins on the blue line right now. Toronto, back-to-back wins coming out of the break against Carolina and Chicago. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. You know what's good is for the Leafs is outside of Dewar, Yarncroke, who's been out all year, and Pacioretty, who's been out for a while now. This is as healthy as they've been in a long time. You know, they had Tavares out for a bit. They had Matthew Nyes out for a bit. Matthews has missed time this year, but they've got everybody healthy and raring to go right now. So not an easy team to beat, and I'm not convinced this Boston team in their current form is capable of it. So I took Toronto, and it was minus 135. Still lean that way, but it is getting a little pricey at minus 150. Nothing on the total, because believe it or not, Leafs and Bruins, especially in Boston, there's been more unders than overs with these two teams. It's not like Boston's lighting it up. Boston's not a team I'm looking at. And by the way, if you look at Boston the last 2 weeks under Joe Sacco, Alex, they're really trying to play a neutral zone lock, trap it up type of game, because they know that's their only chance in hell right now of hanging in these games. So they're playing an under style. We'll see if that continues here tonight. Alex, what do you think, Leafs, Bruins?
Yeah, I took a shot here with Leafs regulation plus 105. And I know usually this is a series where we often look at the draw, but like I said, the way that, Boston's form right now, I don't see them hanging around with the Leafs. I can see this one maybe being close early, but the Leafs could pull away from this one. So maybe also a little bit of a live look as well, especially if Boston has a lead. But I'm taking a pregame shot here. Leafs in regulation plus $1.05 was available at FanDuel.
Yeah, I would say as far as goal props, Pontus Holmberg heating up, believe it or not. And they've got him up there with Tavares and Nylander now. So maybe a little value with Pontus Holmberg for Toronto. Me and Bobby McMahon and Domi and Robertson, they had one of those games again against Chicago on Sunday where they were just, everything they did was phenomenal. So maybe don't sleep on them. McMahon, Domi, and Nick Robertson really has a chance to be a good line for them. But they only have these games every now and then. They'll have a big game. You won't hear from them for 4 games, and then bam, they'll have a big game again. That's kind of what it's been from them. Matthew Nyes with good success against Jeremy Swayman, who's in net, of course, tonight for Boston, says Jonathan. So keep an eye on that. Matthew Nyes with good shooting success, scoring success against the Bruins netminder. So keep an eye on that. So that is definitely a prop maybe to mention for Boston. It's hard because they're not exactly filling it up now as far as the goal scoring right now is concerned. But I would say, believe it or not, Lindholm has even started to score a couple of times here for Boston. But the one I always go to is Morgan Geekie on the top line. He has been actually a pretty good catalyst lately for Boston and continues to play on the top line for them. All right, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Keystone State rivalry matchup. Philadelphia minus 125 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Nedeljkovic and Ersson already confirmed as the goaltenders in this game. Now there's been a market move in the last 2 hours to Pittsburgh, because this was minus 135. It actually went up to about minus 150, and it's come crashing all the way back down to minus 125. So there has been a significant move on Pittsburgh. None of it's my money. That much I can tell you. I'm taking Philly at the cheaper price now. Pittsburgh, it's funny. I see the report today, and we knew this all along. We've been hearing it for several days, if not a couple weeks now, that Kyle Dubas wants to trade Erik Karlsson and would trade him in a heartbeat. You know what the fucking problem is? There's no teams that would trade for Erik Karlsson in a heartbeat. That's the issue at that number, at that cap hit. That's the problem. And that's the problem he's going to continue to have, peddling Erik Karlsson in any sort of trade right now. So I like Philly at this deflated price. I think they actually should be closer to minus 140 or 45 in this game instead of minus 125. Hell, you can get minus 116 at some spots here with Philadelphia in this game. They had a great first game out of the break, taking it to the Edmonton Oilers. And I know Edmonton hasn't played great coming out of the break, but nevertheless, that was a good win for Philadelphia. 11-3 as a favorite, as Jonathan mentioned. So when they're favored, and it hasn't happened often this year for Philadelphia, They usually win those games. I think they're the better team right now. Erson's back in net, and he's better than the stiffs known as Fedotov and Kolosov. He's their best option they've got in net. And I actually thought he's played pretty solid here. The Edmonton game, he was solid, and I thought he was very good when he played for Sweden against Team USA last Monday in the Four Nations. I thought that was one of Samuel Erson's better performances in quite some time. So big goalie edge, especially if it's the Nedeljkovic we saw against Washington. Holy shit, he was terrible in that game. Now, he is a prideful goalie and a guy that's capable. He'll be looking to bounce back after getting yanked, but I still think Erson and the Flyers is the way to go here. Alex, what do you think here? Pittsburgh and Philly.
This is where I love the combination over at BetMGM. I got Flyers and over 4.5 at plus 130. Like I said, with these two goalies and Erson, yes, he's looked better. Wonder if he, like I said, builds up some confidence from his Four Nations appearance, but he still is a shaky guy and is susceptible to giving up a soft goal or two. So when you add him and the Nedeljkovic, who's just, my God, I mean, just some of the softest goals we've seen him give up, and we've seen him give up a lot of soft goals in his career, right? From Carolina,
he's also had some dandy performances, but that was one of the worst.
Yes, but that was just brutal, and then not being focused with the back-to-back goals where he ends up getting pulled in that last start. It just, and that's been a common thing. It just seems like he just kind of loses his focus at times. So now, you got the trade, talk swirling about. Obviously, things aren't going in the right direction for Pittsburgh, and you're heading into rival enemy territory. This game could get out of hand. So give me Flyers. I did lay a little bit of 118 as well, but I really love that MGM look of combining the Flyers with over 4.5 plus 130.
Oh, he's an enigma. He doesn't always play. He doesn't play great defensive. He's never been a good defensive player, and that's why Vancouver and Calgary kind of got fed up with him. But he can score, and he can make it happen offensively when he's dialed in. And Andrei Kuzmenko might be worth a look here for Philadelphia right now. He scored against Edmonton on Saturday. He's gotten points in back-to-back games. He's getting second-line opportunity with this Flyers team right now. He's getting first power play unit as well with Mishkov, with Konechny, Lawton, and Ristolainen at the moment, right on their top power play. Now, I know it's a Philadelphia power play that for years has had issues and struggles. But yeah, Kuzmenko, I think, as far as props, is someone to keep an eye on, and someone I think that could be able to find the back of the net tonight and moving forward. A good value. We've seen that offensive spark lit now the last couple games for him with this Flyers team, and maybe the change of scenery will work. The only thing I was concerned about is his laziness at times. That's not exactly a thing that fits well with a guy like John Tortorella. That was my biggest worry about Kuzmenko. Like, if he's going to be dragging ass, it's going to be a collision of heads here between him and Torts. Torts doesn't put up with that nonsense. So from that standpoint, that's why I was concerned whether this Andrei Kuzmenko dynamic was going to work out here with the Philadelphia Flyers. But definitely keep that in mind that he's looked good here the last couple of games. Tomasino and Raquel, I get it. They're all good looks as well. I can't argue with that. Michael, by the way, about Michael Bunting, Jonathan saying Bunting with 2 goals in 2 games versus Erson and at plus 390 to score tonight. Bunting had a million chances the last couple of games, whether it was the Ranger game or the Capitals game. He's been all around it. So maybe it's time for him to maybe find one because he certainly had his chances and in his office right in front of the net, which is typically where you'll find Michael Bunting. So maybe one of these chances he's had is finally going to go in. All right, Edmonton and Tampa Bay. As the Oilers look to bounce back from a hideous first 2 games coming out of the break. Even money, both sides, minus 110, 6.5 the total. Hideous defensively, I mean. Obviously, when you give up the amount of goals they did in their first 2 games to Philly and Washington coming out of the break, you're going to look to rectify that, and we'll see if they're able to in this game. 6 allowed to Philly, 7 allowed to Washington. In the 2 games. It kind of feels like a nice little spot, though, for Edmonton to have those 2 games. They were bad. Everybody knows it. But people thinking this might continue. Now you've had a couple days. You got some practice time. Finally, be able to get a little bit of practice time in for the Oilers to try to fix some of these things that are not working right now, especially defensively. But I would expect them to have a pretty strong effort tonight. Keep in mind, in the Washington game, they got the first goal. They came out strong, but then Washington tied it. Edmonton had chances to make it 2-0, and it was never the same after that. And then actually, Edmonton got it to 2-2. And again, it looked like, whoa, Edmonton's got momentum. They're taking it to Washington when it was 2-2. And then 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, bang, bang, bang like that. And that was all she wrote. And it just completely crippled the Edmonton push that they were putting on. No question about that. I took a small shot with the Oilers here at -110. I think it's a nice buy low opportunity coming off those stinkers against the Flyers and the Capitals over the weekend. I think they play a strong game tonight, Edmonton. Doesn't mean they will win because you're talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa, this good home record of theirs. But I think in this spot, I'm okay taking a shot with Edmonton -110. But you guys know what I like even more than that. It's this great 14-1 first period over run now for the Edmonton Oilers in their last 15 games, 14-1 to the over for the Edmonton Oilers in their last 15 games to the first period over. We're back on it again tonight. Now it's -140, the best price out there pregame on this Oilers Lightning first period over. So you could either lay that price or you could wait a couple minutes into the first period, see if you can get a better price in game. But I'm on the over by Fecta here, 6.5 as well, but definitely more so on the first period over here. Oilers and Lightning riding that 14-1 streak for the Edmonton Oilers to the first period over in their last 15 games. And a good point, too, by JD in our chat. Oilers have not lost 4 straight this season. And I know this is an angle I've used successfully multiple times with Toronto this year, where every time they were up against losing 4 in a row, they got a win and avoided the 4-game losing streak. We will see if Edmonton can follow suit here tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Should be a good one. Oilers, Lightning.
Yeah, of course, we're looking at that first period over, but at -146 up to upwards of to $1.60, I cannot bet that now. I have to wait in game. So those of you who are Patreon members, I'll be sending out the live buy sign as well. Around -125. We're not gonna get too greedy with this one. Definitely thinking that we could get goals sooner than later. So got to be quick with that. But as far as just overall with this game goes, don't like that over 6.5. Like you said, the fact that Edmonton hasn't lost 4 in a row, Tampa's a quality team, especially at home. This game could maybe start slowing down. I can see second period, third period, especially if it's close. So I will take a small shot here with the draw, along with looking for that first period over in game. And that's all I really have for this one. I said, I take that back. Edmonton to score in the first 10 minutes. This is the one we talk about the gift. Look, I have that with the Edmonton Oilers. Goal in the first 10 minutes, +165 available at Bet Online. Shop around because I know those team-specific gifts aren't always available at all books, but I got that at Bet Online. So Edmonton goal in the first 10 minutes pregame along with the draw, and then I'll be looking for an in-game look with the first period over.
It was an Edmonton-St. Louis game. I don't remember when it was when they played the Blues, but that was the one game in the last 15 that was an under in the first period for Edmonton. And other than that, it's been, just like I said, crazy run with the first period over. I like Matt Savoy here for Edmonton as far as goal prop and maybe assist prop, anything you can find on him. He's playing with Leon, and you could argue that Leon Draisaitl is playing even better than Connor McDavid this year. I mean, Leon Draisaitl is the Rocket Richard Trophy winner, likely leading the league in goals. He's been just incredible. You can almost get points by accident playing with a guy like Leon Draisaitl, the way he's been playing this year for Edmonton. So they've got Matt Savoy, the youngster, paired with him and Podkolzin on that second line. So I think Matt Savoy's been noticeable here in these first 2 games since getting called up. So something to keep an eye on for sure as far as that's concerned. Goal prop wise or points prop wise, anything you can find. For Tampa Bay, a guy that's clearly charged up from the break. You're right, Brandon Hagel. What a dazzling goal he scored, shorthanded, to get them going against Seattle on Sunday. It was just a phenomenal goal. He's playing with Cirelli and Girgensson on that second line right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Of course, Gensel, Point, Kucherov still together as the top group. Obviously, net minding tonight as expected. Vasilevsky should be in net for Tampa Bay, and Skinner gets the nod here tonight. Stuart Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers in this one. All right, we roll along here. Next up, Battle of New York, and the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. Normally, a lot of people get excited, but it's kind of lost its luster with the Islanders out of the playoffs at the moment, the Rangers out of the playoffs at the moment. But nevertheless, here it is. Once again, this rivalry. Rangers -120, road favorites 5.5, the total in this game. Believe it or not, I actually lean Islanders here, but I'm not taking the Islanders. I'm not laying anything with the Rangers, though. And I know they finally won against Pittsburgh, and they were favored in that game against the Penguins. But let's be honest. I mean, if not for Igor Shesterkin in the first two periods, the Rangers don't win that game. And they probably had no business winning that game, quite honestly, against Pittsburgh. If you think that game was a sign of a turning point in the season for the New York Rangers, that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, they were fortunate that Shesterkin bailed them out because Pittsburgh swarmed them, and Pittsburgh's not even that great. And Pittsburgh was swarming them in the first two periods of that game with Kenny and Edzo in the booth, that TNT game on Sunday afternoon. So that's not a ringing endorsement of the Rangers being back on track, in my opinion, that they beat Pittsburgh and they needed their goalie to stand on his head in order to beat them in that game. But I don't trust the Islanders either. I like the draw here. This is my first draw bet on the card. Wouldn't shock me. I don't know if either team's good enough to pull away from the other. And I have a small, no first period over, because neither team has really been fully trending first period over that great. But go and look at Rangers Islanders full game over series history. It's been strong overs, and they've all been 5.5, and the majority of them have gone over. And it's not like I trust the Rangers defense right now. It's not, and Shesterkin was great, but my goodness, how many 10-bell saves, how many, 5-star chances did he have to stop? A-plus scoring chances did he have to stop in that game against Pittsburgh? So if they keep giving up that kind of quality, even a team like the Islanders could be able to find the back of the net. Meanwhile, the Islanders should have Sorokin in net tonight for this game against the Rangers and Shesterkin. So it's the battle of the Russians. But the series history, other than one recent meeting, most of them have gone over when it's been 5.5. So I do have a little bet over 5.5. And like I said, I'm going to take a shot with the draw here in this one. Keep an eye on this. Nick Earl, the Islanders fan, friend of the show, in our group chat as well, pointed this out, that there is a chance that Noah Dobson, if not back tonight, could be back soon. Won't be back tonight. They're going to wait another day, but certainly someone that's going to help the Islanders power play, help start the rush up the ice, just be that puck mover, that transporter that this team is needing badly. Won't play tonight, but Noah Dobson for the New York Islanders is nearing a return from injury. Of course, they're still without Matt Barzal, Mike Riley as well. Looks like Chris Kreider still day-to-day for the New York Rangers. So Peter Laviolette will continue along with Panarin, Miller, Zibanejad, Cooley, Trocheck, and Lafreniere as his top six. I think Will Cooley continues to be the one Ranger I'd be interested betting props with right now. Or Miller for that matter, because Miller plays his ass off every night. But those two guys, not everybody brings it every night, Alex, for the Rangers, but JT Miller does, and I love the effort I see from Will Cooley most nights as well for them. Alex, what do you think here, Rangers, Islanders?
Yeah, with being a busy card, I just took one kind of look here with the draw. I grabbed plus 315, and I sprinkled a little bit smaller on correct score 3-3 at 12-1. That's over at FanDuel. So just playing those really, really small. I could see this one being kind of a back and forth battle, and then kind of come to a halt late. So 3-3, and that means you also cashing the over there as well. So those are the only looks I have in this one. Nothing on the sides.
There are actually a couple of Islander props I'm interested in. Holmstrom on the second line with Nelson and Palmieri, and I'm waiting for Duclair to get on a roll. He finally scored, Duclair against Dallas on Sunday, and you know what he's like. He's a streaky bastard, this guy. So when he scores one, a lot of times a bunch of them will follow. So I'm going to buy in on that Anthony Duclair, the Duke, starts to go on a little bit of an offensive heater for the New York Islanders, because he scores in bunches, and that goal against Dallas snapped a pretty long goal drought for him. So Duclair maybe someone to get some confidence back. Sometimes, like we say with the offensive goal scorers, you just need to see one go in, and then oftentimes the floodgates tend to open after that. All right, Florida and Nashville. We've got Florida minus 150 road favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Matthew Tkachuk, Paul Maurice on the Joe Rose Miami Sports Talk Radio morning show yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was, said Matthew Tkachuk's going to be out for a while. He's going to be out for a long time, but his season's not over yet. They say there is still a thought that he will be back at some point. The question is when. But Paul Maurice was pretty adamant on that radio interview that we have not seen the last of Matthew Tkachuk this season. We did see him last night on the Tonight Show, apparently, with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon must be desperate for guests, bringing in Matthew Tkachuk. for the Tonight Show, but that's that's another story. Bringing in some hockey guy from the Four Nations face-off, but must not be doing his producer or whatever, as a guest booker, must be asleep or something. But nevertheless, yeah, Matthew Tkachuk was on the Tonight Show last night, so that's what he's doing now that he's injured and he can't play, and obviously he's out tonight and indefinitely for Florida. That being said, and Kuhlman Lusterinen is out as well for them. But other than that, everyone else pretty healthy for the most part. There was thought maybe Reinhart or Bennett would be rested on Saturday when they played Seattle. That didn't happen. Yet they still ended up losing to the Seattle Kraken on Saturday, 2-1. They're off a loss. I would expect them to play a lot better tonight. And they certainly have a team they can beat in the Nashville Predators coming into town, who, of course, took advantage of, the layoff, and maybe that sparked them a bit against Colorado. And Colorado hasn't been scoring or clicking offensively in 2 games since the break. Nashville was able to take advantage of that. But then they met their demise on Sunday against New Jersey. They got shut out 5-0. And Nashville is in the system play. And it's been a while since we've had a system play, believe it or not, here in the NHL. It's been a while since a team's been shut out. So, and I am a little bit more cautious with the system play coming out of the break. This is that time of year when the points become more important. But we're still going to play it. It's still an overwhelmingly strong and profitable record with both the first period over and the full game over for teams after a shutout loss this season. We're not going to abandon ship on it, but my plan is, starting tonight and moving forward, unless the results are off the charts, my plan is to go a little lower units with the system play moving forward. So I am on the system play here, which is first period over, full game over by Facta. But again, going a little smaller coming out of the break, because I am worried the break maybe it just knocks this off kilter a little bit as well with the system play. And I laid a little bit better price with Florida than what's out there right now, but I did take Florida minus 145. It's gone up a little bit to 50, 55 range, but I think it's a Panthers bounce back, even in Nashville. It's not like Nashville's got any sort of strong home ice advantage this year, has played particularly well on home ice. Hell, they just got blanked at home by New Jersey. So Florida for me in a bounce back spot. And I also like the over by Facta here. System play, Nashville off the shutout loss. Alex, what do you think here? Panthers, Preds.
I know this is the system play, but this is one where I'm going to look in game to grab the over by Facta. I'm not going to play a pregame. Like I said, if we see a pace where it's kind of slow and dragging, we can just completely stay off of it. But it's one of those. And Nashville's been a team that's kind of burned us at times too, except being involved in the system play. So for that reason, this is a pass for now. And we'll look to try to grab something and add on in game potentially.
As far as props in this game, there is actually someone I'm interested in for Nashville with Svechkov, just because he's up there on the second line now for them. For Florida, Mackie Samoskevich, he's the guy that stands out. I've been waiting for our guy, Mackie, offensively. He scored against St. Louis right before the break. He's now on the second line because of some of namely the Tkachuk injury. He's got an opportunity with Sam Bennett and Evan Rodriguez. And Sam Bennett's a physical player, as we all know, can open up space for a guy with some good finishing ability, like a Mackie Samoskevich. So to get Mackie on the second line, I could see him starting to maybe produce a little bit. Panthers are really high on him and his offensive talent. So Mackie Samoskevich taking that shot with him maybe to find the back of the net here tonight in this one for the Florida Panthers. All right, as we continue along here on this Tuesday slate, next up, we've got Detroit and Minnesota. A quick, short turnaround rematch. These teams played in Detroit Saturday, the very first game off the board following the Four Nations face-off break in the NHL, that early Saturday afternoon game, and it was a very entertaining game. Detroit pissed it away. They had a pretty good lead. Minnesota comes back, ties it in the third period, and then they win it with the overtime goal to beat Detroit 4-3 in the Motor City Saturday afternoon. And now here they are in a rematch situation. Detroit now, rapid revenge for them, looking to turn things around. Detroit's got all kinds of defensive issues, obviously struggling. I'll tell you what, right now, even though I'm kind of leaning on the Red Wings side of things here, and I did take Detroit in this game, if it's another spot for them here where for the third game in a row they're only up by a goal with about 5 minutes left in the third period, I'm going to be so tempted to take Minnesota in the draw live because I'm telling you what, they're 6-on-5 holding leads when the opponent's got the extra attacker and has pulled the goalie trying to tie the game. They have been abysmal these last two games in these situations, the Detroit Red Wings. So something to keep an eye on. Cam Talbot, who was not great in that first start coming out of the break against Minnesota on Saturday, will get another shot here against the Minnesota Wild tonight. Philip Gustafsson will get the nod here for the Minnesota Wild in this game. Injuries on both sides. Ryan Hartman out for Minnesota. Joel Eriksson, man, this guy is just one injury after another. He's like Brodin and Spurgeon on this hockey team. Just cannot stay on the ice consistently. And unfortunately for him, this one really sucks. I mean, this is a lower body injury, an injury that unfortunately was suffered in practice of all things. Just brutal. I mean, to see that. And we know how important he is to this Minnesota team. And it's, again, he gives you something offensively. But more than anything, it's defensively what you're going to be missing from Joel Eriksson's absence. And that's just awful. For it to happen in practice, for him to get injured like that, it's just a brutal blow, brutal situation here for Minnesota to lose a guy at this stage of the season. Every game is important to injury like that. And then, of course, Rasmussen's out for at least day-to-day, if not longer, because of the shot he took from Zegras in the Anaheim game on Sunday, and Andrew Kopp out for the season, put on IR. There's another guy that defensively, he matters, Andrew Kopp. Not going to give you a ton offensively, but Andrew Kopp's a good defensive forward for this Detroit Red Wings team. So you're talking about a defensive forward that's great and Eriksson out for Minnesota, a defensive forward that's pretty damn good for Detroit and Andrew Kopp out of the lineup. That's two weaker defensive teams going into tonight. So I like over by Fecta here. Detroit's been an over first period team lately. Over 5.5. It's 5.5. We've seen the last two meetings go over the total. So I'm on over by Fecta, and I'm also on the Detroit money line team total over split tonight here in Minnesota. You can get 2.5 at around minus 135, minus 140 with that Detroit team total. Split that with the money line here on the Red Wings. I think it sets up nicely for them here. You know, they felt they probably should have won against Minnesota Saturday afternoon at home. And now you get them here in a revenge spot, rapid revenge, short turnaround, getting a nice little road underdog price here. I definitely like Detroit here in this spot to maybe get some redemption tonight in this game. And I think people need to understand just how big of a loss Eriksson is, especially face-off prowess, man. Just guarantee most of the time, when Eriksson on the face-off dot, you're going to get possession right away. And now you're going to be scrambling if you're John Hines to say who's going to win those big draws for me in these games without Joel Eriksson on the ice. Alex, what do you think here in this one, Detroit, Minnesota?
Yeah, so I bet the over, full game over yesterday. I got 5.5 minus 115, but then I added first period over 1.5 minus 112 at FanDuel. This is definitely a game where I think it's going to be back and forth. And I mentioned it on Saturday in our chat, and I think I just tweeted it out too. But these two teams don't like each other. It seems like every time they play, going back to since
that
Detroit
was chippy on Saturday
the West.
with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, and funny, we're talking about Alex Nedeljkovic in Detroit, where him and Fleury almost got into a fight. We saw there's been some really chippy games between these two teams since Detroit has gone from the West to the Eastern Conference. I'm not sure what it's about, but it's been entertaining, and I expect an entertaining battle here. So I'm on the over by Fecta, and I also have a play, a bargain bin play on a player who this is the first time I've seen him in the bargain bin. It's only in a couple spots, but he is a bargain bin candidate, and he will be my player. So I'm going with it in this game tonight, along with the over by Fecta.
All right, good stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing who it is, honestly, as far as the bargain bin special here. But very rarely has he been plus 300 or better, whoever Alex has chosen here for bargain bin special of the night. Good points about Raymond lighting up Minnesota from JD. Boldy as well against Detroit. I'm going to go back. I was waiting for him to finally score again, playing on that top line with Larkin and Raymond. I was waiting to see if the Ghost would show his make an appearance again, and he got a goal and an assist against Anaheim. So I'm going to go back to Marco Casper, the friendly betting ghost here for Detroit tonight. I think he might be worth a look once again. He's still playing on that top line with Larkin and Raymond. DeBrincat's been playing great since the break in these two games. Kane obviously gets the overtime winner. So there's a lot of different ways you could go for goal props for Detroit. For Minnesota, Boldy, of course, with Rossi and Zuccarello. Keep that in mind. That line's had some nice chemistry for them. Brock Faber, man, it continues to be just a pleasure to watch that guy play. been so good for the Minnesota Wild. And what I like is that he's able to jump into the play and make an impact offensively and not be at the detriment of his defensive game. That's already something at such a young age that Brock Faber has really become good at. And that's not an easy skill to master for a very young defenseman in the NHL. All right, we've got just 2 games left on this Tuesday card. Next up, we've got Seattle and St. Louis. St. Louis, minus 140, home favorites. The total here sitting, actually, minus 145 is more. Yeah, minus 145. It's actually a little higher than that as home favorites. And the total here sitting at 5.5 across the board. This is the one game tonight where I don't have a whole lot on, quite honestly. I initially looked at it and said, if Seattle's going to try to get back into the hunt, which I don't think they can, but, they've got to put wins together. I think that was more they took advantage of Florida, with Tkachuk out, coming off the Four Nations. Bennett and Reinhart played in that tournament, and Seattle eked out a win, and then they turned around and they got beaten 4-1 by Tampa Bay on Sunday. I'm not sure I'm ready to trust Seattle. St. Louis, meanwhile, a tough, hard-fought game against Winnipeg where they lost. And look, they beat Colorado. They were very impressive in that win against especially Binnington. The reason I lost with Colorado in that game is because I thought Binnington would have a bit of a hangover from the Big Four Nations tournament. And maybe he'd go back to mediocre Jordan Binnington. He was not. That was Four Nations Binnington in the NHL Sunday night for St. Louis against Colorado. He played great in that game, and he's in net right now. He's feeling it. We'll see if that continues here in this matchup. But that's enough to keep me off Seattle. Decord is in net for the Kraken. Decord was great against Florida. Could this be an under? Could it? I'm not big on unders, but Binnington's playing great, and he didn't have that drop-off performance following the Four Nations when he started against Colorado. And Decord, man, you watch that Seattle-Florida game, and I was zoned in on that because the best bet for me on the show was Seattle plus 210. Alex had a piece of that as well. He was phenomenal to make that 2-1 lead hold up for the Seattle Kraken Saturday against Florida. So this, to me, with 2 goalies kind of feeling it right now, could be an under, in my opinion. We'll see. Alex, what do you think here? Kraken, Blues.
Yeah, Bennington is confirmed in that somebody asking in the chat. And like I said, we're kind of expecting a little bit of a hangover from him, but he's sharp right now. And, I've heard his name kind of maybe kicked around in some trade rumors as well. If St. Louis is a team that can't really get back into the race themselves. So maybe that could be something to note as well, too, that I don't really, like that necessarily backing a goalie who all of a sudden now we're hearing his name popped up in trade rumors, where certainly that wouldn't have been the case if St. Louis had just even a little bit better of a record right now. And also, that being said, like I said, we liked Seattle last game because it was a fade on Florida, not so much backing the Kraken, and that was at a much more inflated price. So this is a game, this is a pass for me. If anything pops up, it would be in-game, to add something live, but nothing pre-game here.
I agree with Robert in the chat. This is the time to get back on our guy. He had a terrible, miserable scoring slump. He was mired in one for a long time, and he finally scored a goal for St. Louis in the win against Colorado. It's our guy, Holloway. Celebrate. It's Dylan Holloway time, man. A good player, and he gets off the schneid, gets that first goal to snap a drought. And I already said it once already earlier this show. Sometimes the floodgates open when you finally break that goal-scoring funk. So I like the idea of taking Dylan Holloway to score tonight for the St. Louis Blues. Yeah, Shane Wright is probably someone that to keep an eye on for the Kraken because he's been noticeable lately for them. You can get him at plus 475 to score a goal tonight. Holloway, by the way, plus 2. He's not bargain bin anymore. That's the disappointment. See, he had a terrible funk, Holloway, and even after the funk that he's been in, still not bargain bin worthy because of the great run he had before that, but still he's worth a bet at plus 280. Yeah, 13 points in the last 12 games for Shane Wright. I knew he'd been on a point heater for the Seattle Kraken lately, no doubt. Parayko, yeah. There's another guy. Played for Canada, played well at the Four Nations, and Colton Parayko, man, he's playing with some serious confidence right now, shooting the puck a lot. There's another defenseman if you want to sprinkle on plus 650 to score a goal, certainly plus 230 to get an assist. Those are good bets right now with Parayko. He's clearly playing with some increased confidence following a good effort, performance, and a win, obviously, for Canada at the Four Nations face-off. All right, our last game of this Tuesday slate, The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Utah Hockey Club. We've got Utah minus 270. Now, I get it, right? Chicago's in a bad way right now, but Utah minus 270 at home, and I know they won their last home game, but by the skin of their teeth against Vancouver on Sunday. With that home record, there's not a chance in hell that I'm laying minus 270 or endorsing Utah at this kind of price. 6 the total in this game. I'm off it sidewise. I mean, I'm not really in a rush to bet Chicago here either with the way they've been playing. I would say take Chicago first period if you like Chicago in any form. This has been a pattern with the Blackhawks lately. Show up early, play hard early, maybe take the opponent by surprise early and then fade, as the game goes on. This has been the Chicago way, the last, I would say, couple of weeks. So this pattern has taken place. So we're at a fork in the road here with the Chicago first period overs. They have lost 2 in a row for the first time during this incredible run. 2 straight Chicago games have stayed under in the first period. Now it is still 19-5 in the last 24 games, the first period over, but it went from 19-3, where it had never lost two in a row, to all of a sudden it has lost 2 in a row since the Four Nations break. Chicago-Columbus stayed under in the first period Saturday night. Chicago-Toronto stayed under first period on Sunday night. So we're at a crossroads here. And the way I'm going about it is I will bet it one more time. Chicago-Utah first period over tonight. But if it loses again tonight, we say thanks for the run. It won't be one of these deals where we're riding it every single game if it loses for a third straight time tonight. That's where I'm at with the Chicago first period over. So we'll take it one more time tonight. First period over, 1.5, minus 128, minus 130 is the best price out there right now with that. So that's the way there you go. To Ian's point about Chicago first period, they have led after 20 in 3 of their last 4. So there you go. Yeah, first periods have been fine. It's everything after the first period that's been the issue lately for the Chicago Blackhawks. So yeah, first period over. I don't even hate maybe Chicago first period based on the way they've started games, but I'll probably stay off that because I think Utah's trying to get on a bit of a run here. They haven't given up on the playoffs. Not going to be easy for them to get in, but I know they're trying to, and they did actually start to play a little bit better before the Four Nations break as well, Utah, with some of their recent play. So for me, pregame, the only thing I've got here is first period over, and I do have a few props in this game that are of interest to me as well for the Blackhawks and for Utah. As far as goaltending, Karel Vejmelka for Utah tonight confirmed in net. It should be Arvid Soderblom for Chicago, but it hasn't been confirmed as of yet. Alex, what do you think here? Final game, Chicago, Utah.
Yeah, you mentioned it. This is kind of maybe potentially the end of the road for the streak with the first period over. And we mentioned that, changes are going to be coming with the Hawks. There's going to be trades, and we're going to see guys moved around in the lineup for the next few games. So that might create some disarray to where this may not, sustain much longer. But I laid $1.24 with it last night. Now I'm seeing it up to 136 at FanDuel, 140. So any price of that, I would say wait for it to come back down a little bit in game. I did take a sprinkle, like mentioning with the Hawks leading after 20. You can get Hawks to score a goal in the first period, minus 115 at FanDuel. So I added that as well. This is a smaller bet, but I'm playing that along with the first period over there. And if we do see that, come to fruition, we see a 1-0 Hawks lead, and it's a reasonable price, maybe grab Utah regulation in game to try and come back. So that's the way I'm kind of setting this up as far as that goes. So pregame, first period over 1.5, along with Hawks to score a goal in the first period, minus 115.
I think I'm going to put this together for this game because Utah is finally healthy. This is where we're going to find out and be able to accurately gauge if Utah's got any ability to get themselves back into the playoff hunt because they are now fully healthy. Blue line, they're fully healthy, really, outside of Robert Bortuzzo. And forward-wise, they've got their 2 most important forwards back. Remember, Dylan Guenther was out for a long time, and he's the straw that stirs the drink for Utah. And then they missed Logan Cooley for a period of time, and he's probably their 2nd most important forward offensively. Well, other than Keller, obviously, and Clayton Keller, their captain. But you know what I mean. One of their best forwards, and they were without both of them for a period of time, Guenther and Cooley. Now they're both back. Now they're both healthy. The power play is starting to heat up for Utah. So maybe power play point props, might be worth a look for the Utah Hockey Club tonight. But what I'm going to do is, because now they're healthy, I believe they both scored in the last game that they won as well, the Utah Hockey Club. A little bit of, because I don't love the individual goal prop prices for these guys, but you put it in a goal prop parlay, suddenly becomes a much better price. Gunther and Cooley both to score a goal for Utah in a goal prop parlay tonight. Turn that into a nice little plus 600, plus 650. I think that's because, look, they are in on so much of the offense for this Utah Hockey Club. There is no doubt. Both guys, Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther. So doing a little goal prop parlay for both of those players makes some sense to me here tonight as well. Josh Doan's played a little bit better lately as well for Utah. And then on the Chicago side of the equation, you got Frank Nazar, Bedard, and Bertuzzi is what I'm seeing right now. So looks like Frankie the Tank Nazar, if he's with Bedard, he's worth a look, because that's when Frank Nazar was really starting to make some hay playing with Bedard, Bertuzzi. And I like Bertuzzi being up there. Bertuzzi's the guy that can do some of the grunt work and kind of free up some open ice as well for Chicago on that line. So keep an eye on that unit with Nazar, Bedard, and Bertuzzi. Elephant Hands got dropped down to the third line with Slaggert and Colton Dock. So Ryan Donato, someone we've targeted and circled for props lately, but now that he's been dropped a little bit in the lineup here,
can't look at him now.
Yeah, now I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Down to the third line here tonight for Chicago. There you have it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to this Tuesday card. It's a big card Tuesday. It will also be a big card Thursday. And on Thursday night, it is our next Patreon exclusive, our next live betcast, which is a free one. It's free for all. It's open to everybody. This Thursday, February 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for our first live betcast post-break. Looking forward to it. Live betting, commentary. Bring your favorite beverage with you. It's always a lot of fun. Great camaraderie with everybody. And if you want to join me, Alex, Matt Robinson, and everybody else for the betcast Thursday night, make sure you DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we will send you the link for it prior to the betcast on Thursday night. And then, of course, we've got our 2 March betcasts, both of them Patreon exclusive, Thursday, March 6th, Tuesday, March 25th for our Patreon members. So all the more reason to get on that Patreon page, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. We got so much going on now, the goalie charts, the totals charts, the daily card, sides, totals, player props every day on the Patreon page. But now we've got our exclusive live betcast schedule heating up for our Patreon members. We've got the live wager chat room. We've got the general chat room now available where Patreon members can exchange opinions and chat back and forth. Alex and I will drop in with live bets, live wagers in game on the live wager chat room for our Patreon members exclusively. So we got tons of great stuff going on. Make sure you get over there and sign up. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, for those of you who had just recently signed up to Patreon, you may not know this, but if you are a Patreon member for Thursday's betcast, you get priority to be on screen. So if you want to join us on screen, Patreon members always get ahead of the general public. So keep that in mind as well. That's another incentive to sign up. But also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We got the new shirt inside. We got the new gift line of shirts and hoodies. Goal in first 10 minutes. Yeah. I'm glad everybody likes it. Yeah, rave reviews from people who've seen it. So definitely check that out along with all the other classic shirt designs. Everything's in stock right now. And today is the last day for free standard shipping. It expires at midnight Eastern, 11 o'clock Central. Free standard shipping. Just click on the redeem button at the homepage, add everything to your cart, and that will be available at checkout. And that's available until midnight Eastern at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Make sure you check that out. Again, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. 99% of the world and the general public think of gift as one thing, but we think of it as something else here on the Ice Guys show. Just a general gist of what the new merch is all about. Good stuff there. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, And a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday night slate. Lots to choose from. Alex, where are you going for your bargain bin special?
Well, I teased it up, but looking at that Minnesota-Detroit game, and I said, somebody who you don't see too often in the bargain bin, that's one Sir Patrick Kane. You can get him exactly at plus 300 right now at BetMGM. A couple of off-brand sites as well have him right in that number. And he's a guy who has done very well against the Wild in his career. 59 games against Minnesota. He has 25 goals. Look for number 26 against Minnesota here tonight. Patrick Kane, Sir Patrick Kane, plus 300. The bargain bin special tonight.
You know what? That is definitely worth a bet at that price, especially with the way he's played 2 games out of the break. Overtime winner to beat Anaheim. Patrick Kane, plus 300 for the Detroit Red Wings for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, I hope like hell I'm not a day late and a dollar short with this one because he's been absolutely ripping it here for this team since the break. We'll see if that continues here tonight, but got to take him at this price. Jacob Chikrin, Washington Capitals, plus 550. I mean, what can you say? 3 goals in the first 2 games since the Four Nations break. He's been jumping into the play, shooting the puck a ton, obviously with great confidence, considering he's scored 3 goals in 2 games since the break. Jacob Chikrin for Washington, plus 550. A really great price there. That is going to be my bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday slate. All right. Best bets. We'll see if we can keep it going here tonight. Best bets, Alex. What do you think here? Best bet for Tuesday.
Yeah, let's run right back to the Motor City. Give me the first period over with the Wild and the Red Wings. Like I said, that was a feisty game from start to finish on Saturday. I expect to see more of the same kind of fireworks, and I can see where maybe a little chippy early could create some penalties, could create some power play chances. So give me the first period over, Minnesota-Detroit, 1.5. That is my best bet for Tuesday night.
There you go. Detroit, Minnesota. First period over for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special, or not his bargain bin, his best bet for this Tuesday night. Detroit, Minnesota, first period over. My best bet for this Tuesday NHL slate. There's some good choices here. Let's do a side for a change instead of a total here. I like this price to me is just so short and so cheap now on the Philadelphia Flyers. I think they get the job done here tonight against Pittsburgh. Minus 116, the best price out there in the Keystone State rivalry battle. Let's take the Philadelphia Flyers. Minus 116 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That is going to be my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL slate. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. And again, we're looking forward to the rest of the week. And Thursday, of course, big card and our betcast free for all. Again, get in contact with either me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast, and we'll make sure we get the link sent to you. Looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.